welcome to my channel. It's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147, and I've got a couple of projects to put away that have been done in rounds, so that's what we're going to do today. A lot more straightforward put away system than my squares, if you've seen that dekitting video. So I have this small one that I did from Fansales. They're the extras that I still had left over. They are all currently in DMC order already. I've got my funnel and my tray just to make sure that I use them. I then also have these that are left over from a painting that my daughter did. So she's popped them into baggies so that she could reuse her storage. Ready for me to put them away. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sort these out into sort of hundreds, but then the 3000s I'm just going to put with 3000. It's just the quickest way for me to sort of sort them out is to get the 3000s out of the way. Plus I don't particularly have enough space to sort of go all the way across my desk. I mean, I could possibly make it, but it's just easier for me to put the 3000s out the way, and then get the rest sort of in the hundreds. So 800s, 900s. Oh, we've got a 200. 100s. So if I get them all roughly grouped together, then we can work on them in the hundreds. Oh, we've got a couple more 200s. 700, 700 and 800. Okay, so the 3000s will move out the way for now. I will also sort of scoot over all of the rest, and we'll start off with the 100s. So what I then do is I then sort them. Oh, that's a 200. I then sort them into sort of number order, so that when I'm going through my spares, I'm not having to flip forward and flip back, because these are all in number order. What I'm also going to do is keep half an eye on these ones at the top, or I may potentially pull them out. So for these I've only got the one and it's after the rest. So we'll start with 152. The shading, it's a little bit different than what I've already got, but not too bad. So we'll get those tipped in. I don't bother with different shades of DMC anymore. I just put them all together in the same bag. If I ever happen to run out of one, I'll pick the closest shade. I'll just tip them into a big tray and go from there. And then we've got 154, not that there's a lot of these, there's only a few. So let's see if we can get those out. 154, and then 155. Now 155, I don't have any for rounds, but I do currently have some squares and then some extra squares. I don't store the extras in these packets anymore. I sort of stopped that a while ago. I just found that it was just taking up too much space. So as I come to each colour when I'm dekitting now, if it needs, you know, a little bit of a change because I've changed the way I do things, then I change it while I'm dealing with that number. I don't do the whole box all at once. I just do that number. And then I also have a piece of paper that goes in each baggie. That just helps it stand upright. And all my bags are the same size. So these bags will get reused, but it'll more than likely be again for future spares. Maybe when my daughter dekits a painting, she will, you know, put them into these bags to then pass them on to me for me to put them away. So they will get reused, but they won't get used in my spare storage at all. So I'm going to find a place to dump those. Now this one does need a label, so let me just grab my square label stickers. I'm currently just using up ones that have come in storage containers, you know, storage that you purchase and they give you a few stickers. I'm currently using those up because I've just got sheets of them everywhere. And I've just put 155S, and that's not what I need. I need 155-R because I'm doing the rounds today. To pay attention to which one I'm doing. So now I have a baggie that says 155S and a baggie that says 155R, and they go both behind my little piece of card that says 155. And then next is 159. Now I already have a baggie for this, but it doesn't have a piece of like thick paper in. I now put those in because I find it helps the bags to stand up and stops them all squooshing down. And when they all squoosh down, sometimes you can either miss a bag or it's just not as tidy. So in fact, let's put these baggies to this side. Probably be easier. And then I try and flatten it as much as I can before I then close the seal, and that helps them to take up less room vertically. Okay, so 168 is next. 168, I do have a bag and it already has its piece of paper in. Even better. Again, flatten it and then seal it, and it just takes up less room in the box. It takes up more of the vertical room than all squashing down to the bottom and taking up too much space. Okay, so that's the 100s. So now we'll move on to the 200s, and we've got 208, which I have a bag for each. So we'll get those and I just tip them in. So normally, quite often, I will de-kit straight from the pots, depending on who did the painting. In this instance, my daughter tends to roughly use the same sort of storage container for hers. And of course, she gives me the job of putting them away. So quite often, she'll just transfer them into a bag. And then I'll de-kit from that. Occasionally, now she's living at home, I should hopefully be able to just nab it off her when it's in the storage pot, because sometimes that can be easier to put them away from the storage pot than it can be to tip them out of the baggies. Okay, so 223 is next, but I actually don't have a bag for that. So 223, and remember, it's round. And we'll get ourselves a baggie. Now I do reuse these as well, so if they've been used for something else, or quite often I'll use them with the likes of special drills projects. I won't tend to kit those up into a storage container. I tend to do them one colour at a time. So I'll put the spares into these baggies. That will then replenish my spare bags and I get to reuse those. So that's 223. 224, do I already have? I do. Oh no, they're all square. So I actually have two lots of square here, but they're separate. Again, I used to keep ones separate that maybe were a slightly different shade. I don't do that anymore. So they're all going together. We're all going to get thrown in together, and if I run out of one, I will find the closest match. So we need to create one for the rounds, 224-R. I don't have as many spares in rounds as I do in squares. So quite often I do find that I'm labelling up more as I go along. But of course there will come a time when that doesn't need to happen, because I'm doing a lot more rounds now than I used to. And I actually quite enjoy flipping between the two. I enjoy doing a bit of both. so that's always nice. So that's 224. So that's the 200s done, and there's no 200s in this one. I am keeping an eye on this one to make sure that I sort of grab them as we go along. So 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 6, 5, 6. This, is say, it's just easier when I'm flipping through the storage to grab the right ones. So 317 is actually first. So we've got 317. I have got a bag for round. It just needs, I mean, this one's quite full, so it can stay upright on its own, but I've started putting them in every bag, so I'm going to continue. So 317 is done. I wonder if we'll end up with any duplicates. And then I've got 318, which again I've also got a bag for, and this shading is quite different, but you know what, it's going in. That's more of a green than it is a grey, but I say it's going in, it's going together. I am not messing. Okay, so then we need 322, and I don't have one for this. So 322-R. I think I'm going to be making a lot of baggies today for the rounds. But once I've made them, unless I end up filling the bag up, I won't need to make another. And if you are thinking of, oh, I'm making a mess. If you are thinking of doing spare storage like this, but you don't want to spend hours setting it up, then maybe this is the way that would also suit you. So, you know, create your box with your dividers, of which everything, you know, everything I use, there'll be a video linked below to show you how I made this. But you could always just create the tabs as you get the numbers. It doesn't have to be a project that you sit down and do. Okay, so the next one is 334. I do already have a baggie for this one. How did I end up with no 310s out of 2 paintings? Just realised I didn't put any 310s away. Wow. I'll take that. Okay, so 334. There's always a couple that just don't want to get out of the bag. So 334, and then we do have a double, which is what can be handy when putting away more than one painting. So now we get to 336. I have it in both paintings. So I get to put them both away with only having to find and open the bag once. There's quite a lot spare in this one. And a rogue one. Get in. I will always pick up any rogue ones if I notice it when I've got the bag open. If the bag's been closed up, quite often I can't be bothered opening it again. Not for one diamond anyway. Okay, so that's 336. I'm getting quite a few of those in rounds anyway. And then 356. I don't have a bag for that. I've only got a bag for squares. So 356-R. Get these popped in. I'll take the label off because, as I say, they probably will get reused at some point. They'll just sit in my daughter's little toolkit box sort of tub that we put all our handy bits in. Okay, so there's no 400s in that painting from my daughter, but there is in mine. So we've got 414, which can go away. and peel off my stickers as I go along. It just means that I'm visually seeing the job getting done. And then I've got 415. A little bit of static, so I'll just give the bottle a bit of a kick, bit of a shake. Oh, try putting it away in the right place. Okay, so that's the 400s done. So now we're on to the 500s, and I have 550, but then I have 500 in this one. Ooh, the pod's alive. So 500. Another one down, and then we've got 550. So this is a lot quicker process, you will find, than it took me to de-kit my squares, which was a couple of different paintings. They ended up being about 3, I think. But it takes a lot longer. This, if you're not doing a project with spares, is a whole lot quicker. So it doesn't need to take you as long as it does me to de-kit. And if you're on top of it and actually do it for each painting, it can be even quicker. Okay, so 597 I don't have a bag for. So 597-R. Now this is another colour that is quite popular, and while I don't have anything in that slot, my squares are probably with my Heaven and Earth designs, whereas my rounds I've not had before. So it's a nice way to find out how many new sort of colours you're working with as well. If you've not been diamond painting for long, every time you need to create a new sticker, you're obviously working with a new colour. Also 598 is also one I don't have. I am making the baggies today. So this is the spares from, what's it from? So this one is from the Leaves painting that I did, and as far as I know there should be the review up and the framing, depending on how I've scattered the videos to keep them varied. If not, it's coming up. And the custom from Fan Cells that my daughter did. I think that's what these other colours are for. Oh, actually, no, it might not be. It might be from a 5 panel that she did. I can't quite remember. As I say, she just throws them at me. Okay, so 640 needs another bag. So 640-R. I am making so many bags today. It's a good job I've still got some left, isn't it? So what are you guys working on? Just put your comments below. Are you de-kitting, or did you get all your de-kitting done while I was doing the marathon of squares de-kitting? Are you working on a painting, or maybe you're even kitting up? Maybe you have the fun part. Okay, so 642. I also don't have a bag, but I've just noted that the squares don't have a piece of paper in, so I'm going to pop that in while I'm there, because then it's one less job to do later. So 642-round, nearly marked it as square. It's going to be one of those days. And 642 I actually have in both. So considering it's not a colour that I've had in rounds before, it's now appeared in 2 paintings, even though one was done by me and one wasn't. I have it in 2. And that's where it can be a benefit doing 2 paintings at once, but not always. because it's still a long process. Okay, so 642. So that is, oh no, it's not. We've got 646. I lied. I was getting eager. Let's put away 646, and then we have finished my first box of spares, which covers the 100s to the 600s. And I've just spotted a bit of rubbish, which I'll shift while I'm there. Okay, so that's 646 done. So that's that spares pot all done and dusted. So we'll pop that one away. And then the next one I have is 700s to 900s. So a lot of this depends. DMC numbers don't cover every single number. So it's not 101, 102, 103. In some colours they have more numbers than others. So because of that, you can often find that, you know, 100, so 100 or 300 or 800 takes up more space than another. So that's why the boxes differ. Okay, so we've got 738 is my first one. And I've just noticed that my 762s are completely different colours in both paintings. But hey ho, they're still going in the same bag because that's how I roll. I did used to keep them separate. They just took too many bags. I ended up with too many bags all over the place, and it actually looks as though the grey is a closer match. If you are really bothered, you could, you know, match up this other one and figure out what it really does look like. What is the closest match? Using a DMC chart, for example, you could do that. I just find that I don't need to dip into my spares enough to do that. But I do like to keep them in case I ever run out, and I do have a few projects as well, mainly with squares at the moment, but I do have a few projects that I've been doing with my spare diamonds. So okay, so 775 needs a baggie. I've started using my labels different just so I can shorten them down a bit. I can cut the excess stuff off and it'll actually be shorter because I'm labelling up that flipping many. Okay, but I figured I may as well. But then this leaves painting that I have just bagged this one up, now the numbers jump to 3000. So I'm actually only going to be putting these away for a little bit. So we've got 3796, which is here. Looks like we've got a bit of static going on with these. There's a few that are sticking to the bag. Let's see how they decide to play. Could be a little bit of jumping, but let's see if we can get them to get in this bag, and then they can settle into their new home and stay there. There we go. Oh, I didn't peel all the label off. So that's 796 and then 797. These are very popular types of blues in paintings as well, these. Sorry, my memory card saved while I was just finishing up that one, so I just tipped the rest in so that it was done. I have been taking out some of these green boats as well in the storage. I feel like it needs to be able to move about a bit more. I've been filling them up. Okay, so 800s, sort of in that order. So we've actually got top of the 800s. And again, this is a different shade, but there is already 2 slightly different shades in there already. So a third one is not going to matter. And these are actually the bags, the same size bags that I use, so I'm going to keep that separate. 814. And there's a couple of different shades in that by the looks of it as well. So it must be a colour that I've used before. Oh, where did that go? Got 2 seconds for me to find you, otherwise you're getting left. 814. 823. That is definitely a popular colour because this bag is bursting. But there's not that many in here, so there's no point in starting a new bag for it yet. We'll see how far we go before that has to happen. But I can still get a few more in there. 824. And I've got a bag for square and a bag for rounds. I dread to think how many boxes I would go into if I wasn't actually using some of my spares up in my Heaven and Earth designs. I think I need to go on some of the, you know, the sites that send diamonds to people that are short. Due to quarantine and stuff, it's bad enough that I've not quarantine, sorry. Due to COVID and shielding, not quarantine, it's already been the responsibility of the rest of the house to do all the shopping, etc. So I don't want to be adding on to that when they already do so much. But maybe now that that's sort of laid off a little bit and I am going out a little bit, maybe I need to have a look on that site and see if there's anybody that needs any and I can sort of get some gone. Okay, so 915, see look, like they'll still stand upright with these boats in, but I find I lose where I'm up to. Okay, so 915, I need a bag. Because for some reason I haven't had these before. And there's some colours you look at and you think, you sure I've not had that before? It's very popular. But maybe it's stuck in the box of rounds or the bags of rounds that I have that have no DMC numbers. See, that's another project that you could do over time. So I currently have a tub here full of all diamonds that don't have a DMC number. You could sort of store those according to colour and then, you know, maybe go through it and go, okay, does that match? Oh, no, not quite. You know, does that match? No, not quite. You know, and go through your colours and say, okay, oh, that matches, and put them all together. And in effect, give it a DMC number yourself. That's one thing that you could do. I don't think I'm quite at that point of wanting to do that yet. I might do, because I do feel as though they're wasted. But part of me thinks it might be easier to think of a project to do with rounds and use those first. Or I have got a DMC chart that I need to finish putting diamonds on, and I may just use that to colour match them instead. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still trying to figure it out. Okay, so let's pop in 996, and that is up to... That is the last number in the 900s, is 996. So all I've got left to do is my last box of spares, which holds my 3000s. So a lot quicker process for the rounds than it is for my squares. And my specials is probably even quicker. So 3000s. So this is my storage container for my 3000s. So bringing these over now, we've got 3 7s, 3 0s, 7, 3 7, 3 7, 3 7 and 3 8. And that's sort of how I split them up. So 3,041 and we've gotten 42. So 41 we already have a bag, which is good. And then just try and get it quite flat so that it will stand more upright and take more vertical space. And then 3042, no, I don't have a bag for that. So 3042-R. Must make sure I label these up right. Bob those in. And then the pen takes a little bit to dry on these labels, so I have smudged that a little bit, but I try to just let it dry in the storage and not have to think about it. Okay, so now we've got 3021, 7141, 78, 799, and then I have got quite a few 3 7s here as well, so I'm going to keep an eye on both. And this is definitely a 3 8, it's the last one in the shop, so I don't need to worry about that one. So 3721. Oh, come on. Okay, so I need a label for this one. So we've got 3721-R. And we need another baggie. Because as I say, I do use a different size baggie to these. And sometimes my daughter puts them in this size baggie and I just put a label on it and throw it in. But it depends what she's got on hand. And these bags, you know, need using, so they may as well get used in that way. So that's 3721. And then 3740. And yes, I've got a bag for rounds. Get those in. It's warm today. Okay, 3740, and then I need to move up to here. So we've got 3743, and I have a bag. Always good, but it does need a bit of thick paper. And they're a completely different colour. Look at that. Oh well. So because they are different dye lots, you may find that when you go to do a painting, or you've run out, sorry, if you've got a few different dye lots, you can actually pick which dye lot matches your painting the best to fill in that gap. I mean, this one's got a few as well, 3752. It's got a few different shades of blue, so depending on which one you'd run out of would depend on which one you choose to fill it up. Oh, just lost my place. So 3752, and then 3756, which is actually here. It's the one I have a lot of square for. Do I have any round? Yes. So I've got one little bag of round at the back and all the rest are squares. Because Evermoment send a lot of squares, and I had a painting with a lot of that colour in it, which equals a lot of leftovers. Okay, so 3771. I've only got that in square, so we need another baggie. We are getting a lot of colours today. But we're nearly there. I'm trying to work out if these label stickers on here were originally on her storage. I think that's what she's done. She's put them in baggies and just moved her label over, which is another easy way to do it. And then 3778, again I've only got that in squares, so 3378-R. I'm sure I'll have 3799 though. That one is a very popular colour because it's a very dark grey. So I tend to find that I've had that in quite a few paintings. That's a pretty colour though, isn't it? Pretty coral. Ooh. Trying to get hold of the sticker without smudging it, and it can just dry while it's in there. Okay, so last of the 3700s is 3799. Now you have to remember there is also a 3779, so you need to make sure that you get them the right way around. That's probably the trickiest number in the DMC, is because, I don't know why, I always get that one kerfuddled and muddled up, but luckily they are quite different. So one, as I say, is a very dark grey, and 3799 is quite light. 3779, sorry, is quite light, but 3799 is dark. So I'm sure you would notice if those were muddled up. 3799, top of the shop for that one. Okay, so 38s, I've only got these last few to go. So we've got 3808, which I do actually already have in round. I do remember I did a very, very big gorilla painting right when I first started. You know, the whole bigger is better, which is true, but I think it was just a bit too big. Really didn't need to be that big, and it did have a lot of spares, so I tend to find when I come across the colours that were in that painting like this, I have a lot of leftovers. Okay, so that's 3810, and then 3811, I've got spares in that as well. Again, we've got a couple of different shadings in this one, a few different shading of the green. If it was something that I was constantly going to be using again, then I would potentially match them up a bit better. Either match them up to, you know, my own base level and change the numbers accordingly, or I would keep them separate, but I don't go in them that much to warrant it. Okay, 3834. They're kept in case of emergency, because there is nothing worse than getting to the end of a painting and not having enough colours. It doesn't happen loads, but when it does, you'll be sorry you threw it away. Okay, 3841. So this is one in sort of my old way of storing it. So I've got the separate bags. I actually even labelled these up separate for being Ever Moment compared to not being Ever Moment. So I'm actually going to take those off because I'm not bothered now whether they are or they aren't. But while I'm here, I'm going to combine these two, because that just gets my storage system organised in little bites, little bits, as I'm going along, as I'm in that number anyway. I just tidy it up. So maybe if you're, you know, not wanting to spend hours getting your storage box or whatever else ready, but you do like the idea of having, you know, baggies ready and stuff planned and bit by bit, then, you know, maybe you decide to to make the baggies as you go along, but maybe make one for square while you're there so that it's ready. So you've got your squares and your round bags ready. I mean, I don't tend to put bags in for each unless I've got diamonds to go in them. Or maybe you decide that every time you de-kit you'll get a batch, so you'll write the numbers from 1 to 200, 100 to 200, and then 200 to 300, and then bit by bit it'll end up, before you know it, it will be done. Okay, so 3848, so we've got one for that. That's a nice green, it's a nice green, and they're actually a very good match. So it can completely vary between companies what is a good match and what isn't. And then 3865, which we've got right at the top of the shop, and I have loads. And what's that? That is extra bags of round. So let's see if I can fill this bag up. Oof, because I had a lot of spares. This painting had the whole background was this colour, so I did end up with a lot of spares. So that bag I'd say is full. This bag here might be able to squeeze some more in it. Let me just get a piece of paper in it to help it stand up. And sometimes that can limit how much you put in the bag. But this is another very popular colour because it's sort of an off-white. So let's see how many we can get squoze into here. And then it will free up some more space. Albeit only a little amount, but space is space. And if I ever need them, it's much easier than fighting with these baggies. There we go. So they've all gone in there as well. And that is the rounds put away. So that was a lot quicker than my squares, for obvious reasons, because I make my squares complicated. But my specials are even quicker than that. And I've definitely got quite a few of those to de-kit. So I hope you'll keep an eye out for that video. Hit subscribe if you want to see how I store my special diamonds, because when I de-kit those I will be going through, of course, and you'll be able to see how exactly my storage is organised for those. Just going to get those baggies in there. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.